Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 5-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. If you tuned in yesterday, hopefully you played some Kyle Schwarber home run call of the day going deep, so that's always good. Looking to keep that rolling. If you're new to the channel, stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll give you my home run call of the day. And before we get into the breakdown, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. Continuing to grow, almost on the way to 600 subscribers, so thank you to everyone that has supported so far. And if you are interested in some premium content, you can check out my MLB package, link below in the description. You get access to all of my tools that I use when building my own lineups, starting pitcher data sheet, hot hitter, StatCast data, splits leaderboard, my team hitting data, bullpen data, and then you get my power rankings and my cheat sheet. If you're going to be playing MLB season all season long, I'd highly recommend it. I think it's going to help you become a much more profitable player. Off to a very good start in MLB, I definitely think it's gonna help you out. So explore that if you're getting serious about MLB DFS and you really want to become a good player. I think it's going to be well worth you investing in. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. So as always, you like to go and try to figure out the pitchers that we're going to want to play. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. I like to sort my sheet by K rate. Top pitcher on the slate today is going to be Yu Darvish, taking on Los Angeles Dodgers. A less than ideal matchup, but great stuff overall. A 31.1% K rate, a 13.5 swinging strike rate, 36.2% K rate against righties, and then against lefties, a 26.8% K rate. So really, really good across the board. He has to take on the Dodgers. A little unfortunate, as I stated, but looking at the Vegas lines right now, the Dodgers have a 3.92 implied run total, which is not very high for the Dodgers. And his counterpart is probably the other pitcher that's the top pitcher on the slate in Clayton Kershaw. Second on the list in K rate, he has a 26.6% K rate, a 12.8 swing strike rate, ground ball and fly ball stuff's really good, a 26.9% K rate against righties, and then a 25.6% K rate against lefties. And unfortunately, he doesn't get the best matchup either. And with such a small slate, it's going to be interesting to me to see like how people handle this, because I have a feeling that Yu Darvish and Clayton Kershaw are going to be extremely popular. And from a tournament player aspect, I'm kind of thinking like, these two lineups are absolutely loaded. Stacking up these teams is not the worst idea. I don't know how it's all going to break down. Like, I don't know if that's going to be the common lingo if people are saying like just stack up the two best lineups on the slate, but I have a feeling it's not going to be. So anyways, we'll get into that when we get to bats, but just initial thought, like these two guys, top pitchers on the slate, of course, they get to take on tough matchups though, and they each have, their weak points against certain handedness pitchers. But moving further along, we got Dean Kremer on next on the list, taking on this Texas Rangers team that's been striking out a lot. We got Dane Dunning taking on the Baltimore Orioles that strikes out a lot. Kremer has a 26.1% K rate overall. The ground ball, the fly ball stuff, the walk stuff's not the best. Against righties, he's really solid, 26.2% K rate. Really good ground ball, fly ball stuff. Against lefties, he's really, really bad. And when you're looking at he's taking on this Texas Rangers squad today, that's going to be an issue because they do have a lot of lefties. They have a 4.82 implied run total. They got Nate Lowe, Joey Gallo, David Dahl. Really liked those guys yesterday. David Dahl going deep. We saw Nick Solak go deep. I think that those guys are in a great spot again today. Then you got Dane Dunning on the other side, who is the guy that I'd be leaning towards because the ground ball, the fly ball, the hard hit rate stuff is better. He has 26.1% K rate. He has a 28.9% K rate against righties, and then a 23.3% K rate against lefties. And overall, just better stuff than Dean Kremer, and he's in a better matchup. So, but I mean, he's priced accordingly on FanDuel. He's priced at 8K. Dean Kremer's down there at 6.5. Over on DraftKings, you got Dunning priced at 7.5. Kremer's down at 6K. So, it's not like a hot take to say Dunning's the better option based upon the pricing of the sites and everything, but that's just the case for me. And yeah, I mean, I would be probably, you can play Dean Kremer in tournaments. Like, it's a small slate. He could definitely go out there and get the job done. The Texas Rangers offer plenty of strikeouts. He could be a contrarian play for sure and allow you to jam in some bats, but just know you're getting yourself into with him. It's a pretty big risk with those issues against those left-handed bats and the Texas Rangers having quite a few good left-handed bats. Next on the list, we got Matt Schumacher taking on Los Angeles Angels, a team that really doesn't strike out a lot. 23% K rate overall. Ground ball and fly ball stuff's pretty good against righties. Against lefties, it's pretty respectable as well. I mean, sure, you could go here, but the strikeout upside is probably going to be somewhat limited. And we have Zach Greinke taking on the Seattle Mariners team, who has plenty of strikeouts in their lineup. So Greinke a guy that's a really, really good real-life pitcher, but doesn't really get a lot of Ks, and for fantasy sports, he can be a little bit underwhelming. But the ground ball, fly ball stuff's great. He has a 22.2% K rate against righties, and then against lefties, it's a 23.5% K rate. Has been giving up some hard contact to righties over the last 2 years, but it's the Seattle Mariners. Like, I think it's a great spot for him, especially if you're going to be fading Kershaw and or Yu Darvish. On this slate today, you got Jose Quintana taking on the Minnesota Twins, a team that there was plenty of strikeouts in their bats last night, as mentioned with Andrew Heaney, but they also do offer some power from the right-handed side of the plate against these lefties. So Jose Quintana, also another viable tournament option. Just know what you're getting yourself into. Twins have plenty of strikeouts, but they also have plenty of power. Things could go south for you. That's kind of what you're doing with a lot of these guys. I mean, that's just the case. Like Dane Dunning, Jose Quintana, same thing. Like both these teams, there's strikeouts in the opponent's bats, but you could be dealing with some issues. And then Trevor Cahill, same thing. Milwaukee, even striking a ton. I mentioned I had my interest in Brubaker last night. Brubaker went out there and put up a really good game. Really looked solid. Got a lot of strikeouts. So Trevor Cahill, a 20.6% K rate overall, a 21.8% K rate against righties, and then an 19.3% K rate against lefties. Really less than impressive stuff, honestly. I think I've been fading these Milwaukee bats. I think tonight's the night I might climb on the Milwaukee train. We'll get into that after, but and then from there, Brett Anderson against the righties is a thing. Chris Flexen against righties is a thing. So for Houston and Pittsburgh, as far as their matchups concerned, looking at the lines, not all too sure that I'm looking to go to these guys down here as far as pitching is concerned. So with that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to bats. As always, I'd like to go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra. It's skill and active ERA, worst to best. Figure out which pitchers we can really target. And the worst pitcher on the slate by far is going to be Chris Flexen, taking on the Houston Astros. Comes in with a 5.81 Sierra. Swinging strike rate's bad. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's bad. Walk rate's bad. He gives up a 5.09 slugging to righties. And then against lefties is actually really good. Ironically, we're only dealing with a 23 innings pitch sample size, but has been better against lefties so far. And this Houston Astros team is a team that's pretty watered down in their lineup right now. A bunch of guys on the IL. No Jose Altuve, no Alex Bregman, no Yordan Alvarez, but they still have a 4.53 implied run total. Not scared about this Seattle Mariners bullpen, and I definitely think that the Houston Astros are a viable stack today. My favorite would probably be like right in the heart of the order, going like Michael Brantley, Ulesky, Gurriel, Kyle Tucker, Carlos Correa, those four guys. I mean, those are the most talented bats in the lineup, and then you can throw in a Almani Diaz, or a Miles Straw at the top of the order to round out your stacks, or a Toro and a Ronnie Dawson or a Jason Castro at the bottom. I would definitely want to focus on those four guys today. And then second on the list, Brett Anderson taking on these Pittsburgh Pirates. A little bit excited, actually, to target these Pirates bats, because if you look at Brett Anderson's stats overall, 452 slugging, 41.9% hard hit rate, a 329 wOBA. The ground ball on the fly ball stuff's good, but it really gives up a lot of hard contact. And these Pittsburgh Pirates have some bats that aren't really known to the public all that much, but they can really rake lefties. Most notably, Phillip Evans, Eric Gonzalez in the sixth spot really rakes lefties. So Eric Gonzalez is a guy I want to highlight today for you guys. Just like let you know, you might not even know his name across the industry, but he's a guy that really performs well against left-handed pitching. Like him, Kevin Newman, Brian Reynolds, Phillip Evans, Jacob Stallings. Like Brian Reynolds, Phillip Evans, Jacob Stallings, Eric Gonzalez. Those four on the heart of the order. Really like those guys. And then the top, you can go to Wilmer Difo, Kevin Newman. Wilmer Difo, sorry. Yeah, and I think that's going to be a pretty intriguing stack. Next on the list, we got Dean Kremer taking on these Texas Rangers, who we already talked about. Really bad in the ground ball, the fly ball, the walk, like everything. Respectable against righties as far as ground ball and, all that stuff's concerned, but against lefties is where it gets really bad. Really bad in the fly ball, really bad in the wOBA, really bad in the hard contact, really bad in the slugging. And these Texas Rangers have some lefties that can hit the ball far. Nate Lowe, Joey Gallo, David Dahl, really like those guys today. You can play Anderson, Tejeda at the bottom of the order. Leotis Tavares at the bottom has some speed if he can get on base. Definitely like those lefties. And then I have no problem with you rounding out your stacks with Isaiah Kinner-Fafella and Adalis Garcia and or Nick Solak. Throw those guys in your lineup and feel good about rounding out your stacks there. Trevor Cahill. Okay, so this is what I said. I've been telling you guys not to play Milwaukee bats. They've looked terrible. But Trevor Cahill has some issues as far as hard contact's concerned. A 467 slugging, a 42.3% hard hit rate, 340 WOBA against right-handed hitting, and then a 539 slugging, giving up the lefties, 41.8% hard hit rate. That is not good. And I definitely think you could be stacking up these Brewers today. I'm finally going to give you the green flag as far as to do that. Jackie Bradley at the top has some speed, good at the contact. Keston Hiura has some power. Travis Shaw has some power. Avisail Garcia has some power. Omar Narvaez has some power. Billy McKinney, a very underrated guy you could definitely be looking to, similar to Eric Gonzalez in this game. Billy McKinney, these two guys in the 6th spot for both squads, I really like them. Like, not a lot of people are going to know them, and I'm telling you, both of these guys can rake. They're not everyday starters in the MLB because they are not like well-rounded players. There's some raw talent though, and they could really have some pop in their bats. So like Eric Gonzalez, Billy McKinney, love those guys. I think they're both great options on this slate if they crack the lineup. So Jose Quintana taking on these Minnesota Twins, hard contact giving up against the righties. I had some interest in him last night. Or I'm sorry, some interest in targeting Andrew Heaney last night as a lefty, and I'm gonna have some interest in targeting Jose Quintana tonight as a lefty against this Minnesota squad because they do have some guys that absolutely rake off left-handed pitching. Most notably, Mitch Garver, Josh Donaldson, Nelson Cruz, Kyle Garlick, Miguel Sano. Those guys, really like them. Then you can round out your stacks at the bottom of the order or the middle with Luis Arias. Luis Arias is not a power guy. He's just going to slap the ball around the yard, get on base for you. So if you need to put him in your lineup to fill out your stack, like sure, not the most exciting. I'd probably stick to mostly those 5 guys that I mentioned. Garver, Donaldson, Cruz, Garlick, and Sano. So like those guys tonight in tournaments. And then that's when things get a little bit dicey, like Matt Schumacher. That, I mean, he's been pretty solid. He's worse against lefties. Shohei Ohtani comes to mind, of course. The guy's been absolutely on fire to start the season. Really good hitter from the left-handed side of the plate for these Halos. And then you got Jared Walsh as well in the 4 spot. Those guys I'd really be focusing on. Anthony Baboom if he makes the lineup at the bottom of the order. You can get some salary savings there. It looks like Scott Schebler might crack the lineup. I don't know if he's on these websites, but he's actually, like, it doesn't look like he has a salary on FanDuel if he is over on DraftKings. Let's see, Scott Schebler. He is. He's over on DraftKings, and he's only 2K. So if Scott Schebler cracks the lineup, no issues with you going to him. That's an intriguing play for sure. And, yeah, so like those lefties, of course, you can round out your stack with some bats like a Mike Trout, a Justin Upton, a David Fletcher. No issues there. You know, most notably Mike Trout, of course, best guy in the game. So, and then like I said, once you get down, like I'm not all too sure I'm really looking to stack against Greinke, to be honest. Like the Seattle team's just not. But it looks like as far as from what he's been struggling with, it's the right-handed hitters that really can hit. So, I mean, I guess you could play a Mitch Haniger, a Ty France, like an Evan White, and then round out your stacks with Kyle Seager and Jose Marmelos, the power in the middle of the order. Like, I don't have an issue with that. But I just think that Greinke will be able to limit the hard contact enough. And I'd honestly rather stack up against Clayton Kershaw and Yu Darvish because these guys are going against, tough lineups. If you look at Clayton Kershaw stuff, he throws as a left-handed pitcher, can give up some hard contact to right-handed bats. If you look at this San Diego Padres team, they have some guys that really rake off lefties. You got Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, Will Myers, Tommy Pham. Specifically, Manny Machado, Will Myers, and Fernando Tatis. Like, that 3 right there is deadly against left-handed pitching. Like, stack them up. They're going to be lower owned. No issues with it at all on a smaller slate. I think it's a perfectly reasonable option. And then on the Los Angeles Dodgers side, when you're looking at Yu Darvish's stuff, he's a right-handed flamethrower, and he's much better against righties. But then when you go to lefties, he gives up a 429 slugging. So I do think that there's some opportunity to target him with some left-handed bats. And we know that the Dodgers supply some pretty good ones. They got Corey Seager, Max Muncy, Gavin Lux, Zach McKinstry. Like, the kid's been on fire since he's come up. I like those lefties. And then you could throw in, of course, a Justin Turner and Mookie Betts, a Chris Taylor to round out your stacks and feel really good about it. The one guy I'd be a little bit hesitant to be playing is Austin Barnes, but of course over there on DraftKings you got to play a catcher, so no issues with you throwing him in your stacks at all. FanDuel, probably not necessary, but Yeah, that's what I'd be looking to. That's a pretty good analysis of the slate. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Joey Gallo taking on Dean Kremer. I had mentioned his issues against left-handed bats and overall just terrible stuff across the board. He has a 6.2 ERA, 4.95 Sierra, 9.1 swing strike rate. The ground ball is at a 33.8% rate. Fly ball is at a 44.1% rate. Gives up a ton of hard contact, and specifically to left-handed bats. He gives up a 488 slugging, a 48.3% hard hit rate, 353 WOBA, 58.6% fly ball rate, and a 13.8% ground ball rate. That's a lot of hard contact given up. That's a lot of balls in the air, and we know that Joey Gallo hits baseballs to the moon. Only 1 home run on the season so far, and I think he's able to add that up to 2, maybe even 3 today in the matchup against Dean Kremer in this Baltimore bullpen. Love Joey Gallo today, and he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Joey Gallo, get him in your lineups, and that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. And then, like I mentioned at the top of the video, if you're getting real serious about MLB DFS, go ahead and sign up for the KJK DFS MLB package. Promise you won't regret it. What are you waiting for? Go ahead, join the squad over there and start winning some money. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.